You've been told discipline is the answer. You've been told if only you could follow the rules, you'd finally become consistent. But I need to hit you with the most painful truth you'll ever hear as a trader. Discipline won't save you. I know that stings. It cuts right into the very thing you've been holding on to as your lifeline. Because every blown account, every sleepless night, every time you walked away from your screen swearing you'd be better tomorrow, you told yourself the problem was you just weren't disciplined enough. If only you had more self-control, more patience, more rule-following grit, you'd stop failing. And yet, here you are, still bleeding, still stuck, still wondering why the same cycle keeps chewing you up. And let me make it worse. There are traders out there with less discipline than you, who are winning. There are traders who break rules, who bend edges, who don't live and die by a rigid checklist, and yet their accounts grow while yours is stuck in purgatory. How's that possible? How can people less disciplined than you succeed while you, iron-willed, notebook full of rules, tight stop losses, keep failing? That's where the truth slices open the lie. Because the market doesn't reward discipline. The market rewards structure, identity, and the ability to lose intentionally. And that, right there, is where Tom Hougaard's book Best Loser Wins cracked the code most traders never see. He dared to say the unspeakable, that winners aren't the best disciplined, they're the best losers. Now let's pause and sit with that for a second. You've been taught to worship winning, to worship the perfect entry, to worship the flawless trade where your stop never gets touched and your risk-reward ratio shines like a trophy. You've been taught to see losing as the enemy, but Hougaard flips the script. He says losing is the entry point. Losing is the gate you must pass through. Losing is the brutal tuition that teaches you how to actually survive. And here's the rebel's twist. We take it even further. Losing isn't your enemy. Losing without authorship is. Let me tell you a story. Picture a trader. Let's just call him Alex. Alex is sharp. He's disciplined. He wakes up early, journals his setups, avoids overtrading, uses tight stops. He's the poster child of what every trading coach says you should be. But here's Alex's reality. He still can't grow his account. One week he's up 5%, the next week he's down 7%. He's in this constant loop of progress and punishment. And because he's so disciplined, he never questions the structure itself. He just keeps blaming himself. I just need to be stricter. I just need to control my emotions. Sound familiar? Alex is trapped in the great myth, the myth that discipline is enough. And because he believes it, he never evolves. He dies the death of 1,000 small cuts, emotionally and financially. That's what happens to most traders. They're disciplined soldiers fighting the wrong war. Now step into the rebel lens. Imagine the trader who says, I don't need to be the most disciplined soldier. I need to be the most intentional author. This trader doesn't collapse when a stop is hit. He doesn't cry foul when the market takes him out. He doesn't spiral into revenge trading. Instead, he reframes every loss as data, every failed attempt as calibration, every stop out as a mirror reflecting not his identity, but his structure. That's what Hougaard meant by being the best loser. And that's what we mean by being a rebel. You don't just follow rules. You design them, own them, and evolve them until they become weapons. Here's the first myth that shatters. Discipline equals success. Wrong. Discipline equals repetition. And repetition of a flawed system only deepens failure. You can be the most disciplined trader in the world, perfectly executing a broken strategy, and all you'll get is consistent loss. That's why traders fail even when they follow rules. The problem isn't the absence of discipline, it's the absence of structural authorship. Here's the second myth that crumbles. Rules protect you. No. Rules cage you. Rules are only as powerful as the philosophy behind them. If you trade with rules written by someone else, rules you don't understand deeply, rules you obey like a servant instead of wield like a creator, those rules become chains. You'll follow them into drawdown after drawdown because obedience feels safe, even when it's bleeding you dry. The rebel alternative is to stop being a slave to rules and start being an architect of models. And the third myth, the most dangerous of all, losing means you're failing. No, losing without reflection is failure. Losing with intention is the forge where consistency is born. The market doesn't care about your win rate. It cares about how you process feedback. If you recoil from every loss, you'll never grow. If you weaponize every loss, you become untouchable. That's why Hougaard dared to say, "Best loser wins." Because the one who embraces the pain without breaking is the one who survives long enough to learn the deeper game. Let's get real. How many times have you taken a loss and felt your entire identity collapse? How many times have you equated one losing trade with, "I'm not good enough," or "I'll never make it"? That collapse is the trap. That collapse is why traders quit. The rebel doesn't collapse. The rebel looks at the red number, exhales, and extracts the lesson. He doesn't see proof of failure. He sees evidence of calibration. He doesn't see weakness. He sees refinement. That's the doctrine. And when you embody it, you become the trader who can stand storm after storm without crumbling. So how does this play out in practice? Let's talk application. Because talk is cheap if it doesn't translate into behavior. The rebel application looks like this. You don't just track your wins. You track your losses with surgical curiosity. You don't just celebrate green trades. You dissect the red ones until they tell you their secrets. You design your system not to avoid pain, but to integrate it. That's why rebels are dangerous in the market. Because while others are running from loss, rebels are mining it for gold. It means when you set a stop, you don't set it as a desperate hope of safety. You set it as a data marker, a line of feedback. When it gets hit, you don't see devastation. You see information. It means when you take 3 losses in a row, you don't spiral. You recalibrate your model, sharpen your lens, test your execution. You treat loss as structural communication, not emotional rejection. And here's where identity comes in, because this isn't just about strategy. This is about who you believe yourself to be in the face of failure. The average trader believes a loss is an attack on his worth. The rebel believes a loss is an invitation to refinement. That shift is everything. That shift is what keeps you alive when everyone else taps out. So let me charge you right now. If you're still worshiping discipline, you're still trapped. If you're still clutching rules like a drowning man clutching driftwood, you're still in bondage. It's time to rebel. It's time to stop being the trader who asks, "How do I get more disciplined?" and start being the trader who asks, "How do I lose better?" Because when you lose better, you win. When you embrace feedback instead of fleeing from it, you rise. When you author your own structure instead of inheriting someone else's, you transform. That's what it means to be a trading rebel. Not perfect, not robotic, not rigid, but intentional, structured, resilient, and unstoppable. So here's your step right now. Subscribe, share this message, and comment below what loss taught you the most in your trading journey. Join the movement. Stand with the rebels who refuse to bow to fragile myths. Because out there, in the noise of the herd, discipline might look like the answer. But in here, in the rebel camp, we know the deeper truth. Discipline won't save you. Losing well will. And once you learn that, nothing can stop you.